Hamilton, this morning we learned of the passing of our general manager, Ted Goveia. We will be honoring his incredible contributions to Canadian football at the end of the first quarter. At this time, we ask for you to stand if you are able, and please join us in a moment of silence in his memory.
Goveia called being the GM of Hamilton his dream job. He grew up cheering and loving the Ticats. And for all of us here at the CFL on TSN, our deepest condolences going out to Ted's family, friends, and all who loved him. Ted Goveia was just 55 years old.
Welcome to Hamilton on a very nice mid-September Friday night for the first meeting of the season between the Tiger Cats and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Two teams very much a part of the football legacy of Hamilton General Manager Ted Goveia, who you probably heard sadly passed away this morning after a long battle with cancer. I mean, you talk to people about Ted Goveia, his passion for Canadian football. You can just imagine how passionate he would be about this game tonight.
Well, no question about that. So many players in this game whose paths to the Canadian Football League were shaped by Ted Goveia. A guy who has touched every level of football in this country, amateur and professional. I don't know of anyone in the world of football who had the opportunity to work with Ted, who just didn't speak glowingly about both the man and his abilities in player personnel.
You saw that embrace between Scott Milanovich and Mike O'Shea, the head coaches for this game tonight. They, of course, were together along with Ted Goveia with the Toronto Argonauts winning the Grey Cup in 2012. Milanovich as head coach, O'Shea as an assistant, Ted Goveia in the front office of the Argos before coaching collegiately on several occasions, and also with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, winning a couple of Grey Cups there, becoming the general manager at Hamilton this year, and sadly passing away. Our condolences to Ted, family, and friends. He wants it to be about football. As mentioned early this morning, Ted Goveia, the general manager of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, lost his battle with cancer at the age of 55. They had planned a Team Ted night even before this tragic news, and they are having a ceremony right now at 1/4 time to pay tribute to Ted Goveia.
Ted's meant so much to the football community in Canada in general. You know, it's been the phone calls and the text messages and the emails I've got from so many people in this profession that I wouldn't have even thought of, that share stories about the impact Ted's had on them and had on the game. He's always been thinking about ways to give Canadian guys a shot, whether it be as players or whether it be as coaches or executives. He's used his position as an opportunity to elevate other people, and I think that speaks a lot to the man's character.
I just think he impacts lives by being himself. It really doesn't matter. You could have nothing on the agenda. You could be playing ping pong. He's going to stop and pick up a paddle and try to play. You're not going to walk by his office and have him not say how you're doing. I think sometimes people just impact your life by being who they are and listening and watching them work.
He knows football, but he knows people. And this is not always a people business. I think that's one of his greatest skills, is being personable and understanding people. He really, I'm telling you, he understands people, like, on a different level. It makes him great at what he does.
Ted's always been a champion for Canadian football. I mean, he loves our style of game. He's always concerned about what players can do, what they can do for us, what they can do for the CFL. Never about what they can't do.
I don't think the game's where it's at today in Canada if it isn't for the impact that Ted Goveia's had on the game, and I think that's a real legacy.
Hamilton, tonight we gather to honor and remember our general manager, Ted Goveia. At this time, we invite everyone to rise if you are able. Take your Team Ted rally towel and hold it high. For decades, Ted devoted his life to Canadian football, developing young athletes, building teams, and helping grow the CFL. his passion, his vision, and his love for the game touched players, coaches, and fans across the country. But Hamilton, this team, this roster, this city was his signature project. Ted came home to build a champion here, and his fingerprints remain everywhere. Earlier today, Ted's courageous battle with cancer came to an end. And while we grieve his passing, we also celebrate the strength, the inspiration, and the legacy he leaves behind. So before the next play, let's pause to say what must be said. Tonight, we all stand for Ted. Hamilton, in honor of Ted and in honor of his love for football, let's make some noise for your Hamilton Tiger Cats and for this great game that we all love.
With courage by the tragically hit playing in the background and fans cheering. And sure, it's one team versus another tonight, but all united in memory of Ted Goveia, who has, we've been saying and has been said, touched both franchises so dearly. His years in Winnipeg and getting a chance to be the general manager of a team. He used to go Dwayne Diverwin Stadium to old Ticats games. And a dream come true for him to come back and be able to have a hand in building this team.
No question, getting his football start in neighboring Burlington, Ontario. His hometown, played high school football there, came back, coached high school football there, before moving on to the university ranks.
Second quarter begins, Dwayne, to Dylan Mitchell. But yeah, finish your thought, because I know you talked to him many times about all the various levels of football that he'd helped out at.
Well, yeah, and just as you've heard so many people say, a guy who is incredibly passionate, not just about the game of football, but about the game of Canadian football and the people in it, and helping to develop and grow the game in this country. You know, a guy who paid his dues to get to where he was, and as you heard, tried to use his position to help others.
Back in Hamilton tonight, they're honoring the late Ted Goveia. Let's go back to Matthew.
No, not only, Rod, do you offer condolences, but you're asking people how they're feeling today. And Levi Mitchell looked at me pregame and said, how am I feeling? It really doesn't matter. On a day like this, and knowing the battle that Ted put in with that fight that he had with cancer, it really doesn't matter if some part of your body is hurting. It doesn't matter if you're dealing with any kind of adversity. They watched him every single day come to work, use his job as a way of communicating to the team how much he was invested. And Rod, you spoke about that story with Goveia bringing Kenny Lawler over, and I went up to Kenny before the game to see how he was feeling. I have never seen him so focused. The best way that he can honor Goveia could be a big play tonight, Rod.
An emotional day, an emotional night here at Hamilton Stadium, thinking of Ted Goveia, their general manager, who passed away of cancer earlier today, a day when the two CFL teams, at least in recent memory, most important in his football career. He did have some time with the Argos with Scott Milanovich and Michael O'Shea, winning a Grey Cup there with Toronto over a decade ago, but most recently with Winnipeg and moving over to Hamilton as GM. Fingerprints